Hello you guys and welcome to my channel. I am so excited to have you here. So today we are going to be talking about the company BetterHelp, which has gotten a lot of scrutiny over the last couple years and continues to face scrutiny as of recently. So you may have seen BetterHelp talked about before from social media influencers, as BetterHelp was actually a company that would sponsor a lot of influencers to talk about the service that they provide. So influencers would do brand deals with BetterHelp and they would talk about it. So if you kind of think BetterHelp rings a bell, that's probably where it's from. So if you are not familiar with BetterHelp, BetterHelp is stated to be an online platform that provides access to psychologists, marriage and family therapists, social workers, and board-certified counselors. Many people started using their services very heavily over the pandemic when that first started to find a therapist, as more people were doing online therapy than they were doing in-person therapy ever since, COVID happened. And in general, in-person therapy can be extremely expensive, so many people didn't have the means to affording in-person therapy during the pandemic. Some people still don't have the means to afford in-person therapy. So BetterHelp to a lot of people was a platform that they could go to that was a little bit cheaper than going to an in-person therapist. And then you were able to do it from the comfort of your own home. So BetterHelp stated that their online platform can cost anywhere from $60 to $90 per week. It is billed every month. So you're not billed every week the $60 to $90. You are billed every single month for how much every week had costed. So they state that your bill could be higher based on your individual preferences, location, and therapy availability. So this totals out every month to being around, on the low end, $240 to on the high end around $360 per month in order to get BetterHelp services. So recently, BetterHelp has been facing controversy and just settled with the FTC for $7.8 million. So I thought we should talk about the settlement and what got BetterHelp to paying the FTC $7.8 million and having to change a bunch of stuff within the company itself. So before we go into the FTC settlement and everything like that, I kind of wanted to touch on very shortly some prior complaints that have spread throughout social media for BetterHelp. So one of the biggest past complaints that I have seen was people were saying that they were billed whether they seen their therapist or not. Many people shared their experiences, especially on TikTok, but also on platforms like YouTube, where they stated that some of the therapists would never show up for the scheduled therapy. So for BetterHelp, you would normally have one scheduled appointment every single week with your therapist, but a lot of therapists weren't even showing up to the actual scheduled appointments. Even if the therapist did not show up for the scheduled therapy appointment, the customer would still be charged the same amount with or without having a session. So that payment of $240 to $360 would be charged whether you've spoken with a therapist and have had your scheduled appointment or not. So I think that's something to keep in mind when you're not using a platform like this and you're just going to a therapist that does online services, or you're going to an in-person therapist. You are getting billed for each session that you do, the sessions that you actually attend. You're not going to be billed for a session that never ever happens, or automatically billed whether your therapist seen you or not, or whether you canceled an appointment or not. So I think that that's a really important thing that a lot of people were talking about on social media as a big issue with BetterHelp. The second thing that was alleged by customers or clients was that BetterHelp was connected with a site that is called Care Dash, where Care Dash would post profiles of known therapists in the state, and they would try and find all of the therapists that they could possible in that state. So for example, for Texas, they would look and try and find every board certified therapist. They would go on the platform Care Dash and they would post a profile for this therapist without asking for this therapist's consent to make a profile for them. So when people were on the internet and they were looking up therapists in their area, the Care Dash site would pop up. Then you would see a therapist, and when you would try to click on scheduling an appointment with the therapist, the link would bring you to BetterHelp, and all of a sudden you can't find the therapist that you clicked on the Care Dash app that you wanted to work with. So it would end up sending you to BetterHelp, and then you would find a BetterHelp therapist to work with. So it was alleged that therapists would do this so they would get more traction to this website, and at the end of the day, that therapist on the Care Dash profile would never ever be available because they don't even know that profiles are made of them on the Care Dash app. So these new customers would go to the BetterHelp website, they would try and find that therapist, and that therapist would be nowhere to be found, and then they would be linked up with a BetterHelp therapist without knowing that the Care Dash website was used as a ruse to sign people up for BetterHelp. But I want to input a video really quickly of someone on TikTok. It's about a 3-minute video. It is a therapist that found their own account on the Care Dash website that linked them to BetterHelp. So I'll play that here.
Missed the new drama with BetterHelp, because it seems like there's something every day with them. They're always doing something. They most recently have created this website called Care Dash, or they're working with this website. I don't know the details, the ins and outs here of how this relationship has been formed. But basically what Care Dash is a website where you can find a therapist, except none of us gave our permission to be on this website. So they've made profiles for all of us. And when you click on the profile, so you click on my name, here's my profile, it will tell you, if you request an appointment, that I'm not available, as if I somehow have a relationship with them and I'm approving myself on, like I work with this website, which is not true. So then they'll tell you that I'm not available, which is also not true. And then they will recommend to you a BetterHelp therapist, which is so shady and so scammy and takes advantage of so many people. Oh, it's so anger-inducing. But the thing that really put me over the edge was I went to my profile to look at it because I was like, I need to see what is on there about me. I need to see what information they have, because people have been looking at their profiles and the information is wrong. Their specialties are wrong. Their address is wrong. How they take clients or how they take payment is wrong. There's all kinds of wrong information. So I was like, I'm curious. And there's not a lot of information about me initially, but when you scroll down, guess what's on there? My personal cell phone number. I don't know if you're not in the mental health field, I don't know if you understand how incredibly dangerous that is for me, but my personal cell phone number can be used to find my address. You can use it to find out a lot of information about me. And now people who want it can have access and call me incessantly. And then I can't practice good boundaries or have space for my job. So I looked to see what I could do to get my phone number at the very least removed. In the FAQs, it says very explicitly that they do not remove profiles because this information is helpful to the public. And that if you want to change something on your profile, like, for example, if your personal phone number is on there, what you have to do is call them and claim your profile and give them the correct information. I don't want them to have my information. I don't want to claim this. I don't want to be affiliated with them. And now they're doxing me, and I have no options. This is outrageous. I just can't. I don't know what to do about this, but I am livid.
Now, clearly, there are many other issues and alleged statements that have come out about BetterHelp, and I'll leave some amazing videos down below of YouTube creators that have done deep dives on BetterHelp and have dived into those alleged statements. So this all kind of leads us to the FTC complaint and settlement of $7.8 million that BetterHelp now has to pay. So when it comes to the FTC complaint, I kind of want to go over that first before I go over the settlement and kind of what BetterHelp and the FTC have agreed to. FTC filed a complaint against BetterHelp consisting of 19 pages. So explained in this 19-page document was that BetterHelp has been revealing consumer data, and clearly the FTC is alleging this, that BetterHelp has been revealing consumers' data, including sensitive mental health information, to Facebook and others for target advertising. I'm not going to read the whole entire complaint. It is 19 pages long. So I do want to read specific sections that I found extremely important that kind of summed up the complaint that the FTC was making or alleging that BetterHelp was doing. So I'm going to be reading sections 5 through 8 of the FTC's complaint to kind of give you a more detailed, in-depth explanation on the filed complaint. Keep in mind when reading these sections, the word respondent means BetterHelp, okay? So section 5 says, from 2013 to December 2020, however, respondent, aka BetterHelp, continually broke these privacy promises, monetizing consumers' health information to target them and others with advertisements for the service. For example, from 2018 to 2020, respondent used these consumers' email addresses and the fact that they had previously been in therapy to instruct Facebook to identify similar consumers and target them with advertisements for the service, bringing in tens of thousands of new paying customers and millions of dollars in revenue as a result. Section 6 states, to capitalize on these consumers' health information, respondent handed it over to numerous third-party advertising platforms, including Facebook, Pinterest, Snapchat, and Criteo. often permitting these companies to use the information for their own research and product development as well. Section 7 states, in addition, respondent failed to employ reasonable measures to safeguard the health information it collected from consumers. In particular, respondent did not properly train its employees on how to protect the information when using it for advertising, and respondent did not properly supervise its staff in the use of this information. Respondent also failed to provide consumers with proper notice as to the collection, use, and disclosure of their health information. And respondent failed to limit contractually how third parties could use consumers' health information, instead merely agreed to their stock contracts and terms. And the last section is Section 8. They stated it was only in December of 2020, well after reporters brought these practices to light and the FTC began investigating the practices, that respondent curtailed its unauthorized use and disclosure of consumers' health information. So another big section that I found important was the HIPAA complaint that the FTC alleged was happening with BetterHelp. So if you don't know what HIPAA is the law. HIPAA is a federal law that requires the creation of national standards to protect sensitive patient health information from being disclosed without the patient's consent or knowledge. So for mental health professionals or doctors, people in the healthcare field, you cannot give out patients sensitive health information or any identifying factors about that patient to anyone without their informed consent. What BetterHelp was doing on their website, which there is screenshots of from the FTC, they added everything in here. They added screenshots, they added dates, they know their stuff. So BetterHelp actually had the HIPAA seal on their website, which indicated to consumers that they were protected by HIPAA when using the BetterHealth app. So as we can see, BetterHelp was trying to make it seem as if they met HIPAA requirements, which is ridiculous. And the thing is that they don't meet HIPAA requirements. They are not allowed to have the HIPAA seal on their website because it makes people believe that all of their information is going to be private when they don't actually meet the requirements for that HIPAA seal. So this means that if you have used BetterHelp in the past, none of your therapy sessions or private sessions between you and your therapist are essentially private, which is a really scary thing to think about if you believe that you are protected by HIPAA when using BetterHelp. So luckily in December of 2020, they removed the HIPAA seal after receiving a civil investigative demand from the commission. So this was an issue that BetterHelp had. They had the seal on their website, but they got sent a civil investigative demand from the commission, and they actually did take down the HIPAA seal from their website, which will no longer indicate that you are protected by HIPAA when using their website. So if you want to read the in-depth complaint, the 19 pages that the FTC explains in detail, where they include dates at which BetterHelp, in their opinion, is at fault for revealing consumer data, including sensitive mental health information, and more. And if you want to see that complaint in depth, pictures and dates and everything like that, I definitely recommend reading it. I am going to link all of my sources down below. I think it's extremely eye-opening and interesting. I did read the whole entire complaint that the FTC alleged about BetterHelp, and I think that it was extremely important. And if you want to read through the whole thing, it's also extremely interesting, especially if you've been someone that has used BetterHelp or have heard about BetterHelp in the past. So after the FTC complaint, BetterHelp and the FTC came to a settlement. This was detailed in the agreement containing consent order, which is 49 pages long. The order not only included the full complaint document, but it reported the settlement, what was entailed, their findings, the FTC's findings, and it explained every detail that BetterHelp has to change moving forward. It even explains the dates that BetterHelp has in order to fix specific things. I feel like this document is really amazing. I read through the whole thing. I'm not going to read it today. It's 49 pages. I would not do that to y'all. But if you want to see everything that BetterHelp has to change moving forward, I will link that document down below. Clearly, I'm going to go over the most important things I find that they have to change, but there are a lot of things that are in this settlement that BetterHelp agreed to changing. So I find that the most important aspect of this agreement is that BetterHelp is, based on the agreement, prohibited from sharing or selling individuals' information. And if they plan to ever share someone's information with any third party, they must obtain the consumer's affirmative expressed consent. Another important aspect of this order is that they are not allowed to say that they meet HIPAA requirements when they do not meet it, which is what the FTC stated. They are then required to come up with a plan to maintain their customers' privacy, and they have to report that to the FTC. This includes also sending out a document to all BetterHelp users So anyone who has ever used BetterHelp or who is using BetterHelp right now will be sent a document from BetterHelp that explains what the FTC alleged in this proposed order that was now and is now settled. So it allows their consumers to really know what's going on, because a lot of the times when there's lawsuits or settlements with the FTC, a lot of these companies aren't made to send out the information to their consumers. So say a company settles with the FTC, a lot of times that'll kind of be pushed under the rug by the company, because the company isn't told that they have to send out a whole statement to every single consumer that they've ever had. But with this settlement that happened with BetterHelp and the FTC, they do have to send out a letter that is titled Notice to Covered Users. The Federal Trade Commission alleged that we shared information about you without your permission. And then it is a 2-page document that BetterHelp has to send out. So this document goes over what the FTC alleged about BetterHelp and what the FTC believes BetterHelp is doing. And then at the end of the document, they have to respond with what are they doing in response to these alleged statements that the FTC has made. I think this letter is extremely important. Like I said before, a lot of companies are able to kind of have these things pushed under the rug, and the FTC is not allowing BetterHelp to just push this under the rug. They have to inform all their consumers about it. And I think it's important. People deserve to know what's happening that are using this platform or have used this platform in the past. They deserve to see and hear what the FTC alleged about their company. Now, the last thing that I found extremely important about this agreement between BetterHelp and the FTC is that BetterHelp is required to pay $7.8 million to the FTC within 8 days of this order being effective. So not only does BetterHelp have to make all of these changes due to the alleged statements the FTC made, but they are now required to give the FTC $7.8 million within 8 days. Like, here you go, here's your money. I think that is a wildly large number, but well deserved in my opinion. So they did settle. For the $7.8 million, along with all of the other changes that need to be made by the alleged statement that the FTC made about BetterHelp. So I also think it's important to mention that BetterHelp, with this settlement, neither admitted or deny any of the allegations brought upon them by the FTC. This happens a lot when companies settle with the FTC, is they will settle and then that allows them to not go to trial or anything like that. It allows them to be able to not admit fault if they are doing any of the things that they were alleged to have done. So keep that in mind. Everything that the FTC alleged about them is still going to be alleged because they do not admit or deny to any wrongdoing, which again happens a lot in cases like this. So after the FTC complaint and the FTC and BetterHelp agreement and settlement, there was a document that the FTC put out on their website that I do want to read for you all before going into my opinion on this whole entire issue. So on March 2nd of 2023, the FTC showcased an article called FTC to Ban BetterHelp from Revealing Consumers' Data, Including Sensitive Mental Health Information, to Facebook and others for targeted advertising. BetterHelp will be required to pay $7.8 million for deceiving consumers after promising to keep sensitive personal data private, agency says. So it states the FTC Commission has issued a proposed order banning online counseling service BetterHelp Incorporated from sharing consumer health data, including sensitive information about mental health challenges for advertising. The proposed order also requires the company to pay $7.8 million to consumers to settle charges that it revealed consumers' sensitive data with third parties such as Facebook and Snapchat for advertising after promising to keep such data private. This is the first commission action returning funds to consumers whose health data was compromised. That's where the $7.8 million comes in. Now the FTC will be able to use that money to return funds to consumers where their health data was compromised, which I find extremely important. I think that those people should be compensated. In addition, the FTC's proposed order will ban BetterHelp from sharing consumers' personal information with certain third parties for retargeting. The targeting of advertisements to consumers who previously had visited BetterHelp's website or used its app, including those who had not signed up for the company's counseling services. The proposed order will limit the ways in which BetterHelp can share consumer data going forward. So when it's stated, including those who had not signed up for the company's counseling services. The issue that the FTC had with BetterHelp with this was that when you go on the BetterHelp website and you go to actually sign up with BetterHelp and to get their services, you have to answer like this long questionnaire that gives so much personal data of yours. And they were saying that BetterHelp was using this like initial questionnaire and giving it to third parties and stuff like that. So they are no longer allowed to do that if they were doing it in the first place, because remember, this is all alleged. So that's what it means when it says including those who had not signed up for the company's counseling service, because you can fill out that whole questionnaire without even signing up. So the FTC continued saying, when a person struggling with mental health issues reaches out for help, they do so in a moment of vulnerability and with an expectation that professional counseling services will protect their identity, said Samuel Levine, director of the FTC's Bureau of Consumer Protection. Instead, BetterHelp betrayed consumers' most personal health information for profit. Let this proposed order be a stout reminder that the FTC will prioritize defending Americans' sensitive data from illegal exploitation. I can clap to that. Thank you very much, Samuel. Thank you very much. Because he's so right. So many people who are looking for mental health services are in such a moment of vulnerability, and they expect the utmost respect and privacy when it comes to their information, aka HIPAA. That's why HIPAA is the thing when it comes to mental health or in the healthcare field in general. So they continued with saying, California-based BetterHelp offers online counseling services under several names, including BetterHelp Counseling. It also markets services aimed at specific groups, such as Faithful Counseling, focused on Christians, Teen Counseling, which caters to teens and requires parental consent, and Pride Counseling, which is targeted to the LGBTQ community. Consumers interested in BetterHelp services must fill out a questionnaire that asks for sensitive mental health information, such as whether they have experienced depression or the S word, thoughts, and are on any medication. They also provide their name, email, birth date, and other personal information. Consumers are then matched with a counselor and pay between $60 to $90 per week for counseling. At several points in the sign-up process, BetterHelp promised consumers that it would not use or disclose their personal health data except for limited purposes, such as to private counseling services. Despite these promises, BetterHelp used and revealed consumers' email addresses, IP addresses, and health questionnaire information on Facebook, Snapchat, Criteo, I don't know how to pronounce that, and Pinterest for advertising purposes, according to the FTC's complaint. For example, the company used consumers' email addresses and the fact that they had previously been in therapy to instruct Facebook to identify similar consumers and target them with advertisements for BetterHelp's counseling services, which helped the company bring in tens of thousands of new paying customers and millions of dollars in revenue. According to the complaint, BetterHelp pushed consumers to hand over their health information by repeatedly showing them privacy misrepresentations and nudging them with unavoidable prompts to sign up for its counseling services. Despite collecting such sensitive information, BetterHelp failed to maintain sufficient policies or procedures to protect it and did not obtain customers' affirmative express consent before disclosing their health data. BetterHelp also failed to place any limits on how third parties could use consumers' health information, allowing Facebook and other third parties to use that information for their own internal purposes, including for research and development or to improve advertising. BetterHelp also misled users and the public in 2020 by falsely denying news reports that it revealed consumers' personal information, including their health information, with third parties, according to the complaint. And this is what was said by a lot of people on TikTok and YouTube who were giving their commentary on BetterHelp back in 2020. The FTC continued with saying, the $7.8 million that BetterHelp must pay under the proposed order will be used to provide partial refunds to consumers who signed up for and paid for BetterHelp services between August 1st of 2017 and December 31st of 2020, in addition to banning BetterHelp from disclosing health information for advertising. The proposed order also prohibits the company from misrepresenting its shared practice and requires it to 1. Obtain affirmative express consent before disclosing personal information to certain third parties for any purpose, 2. Put in place a comprehensive privacy program that includes strong safeguards to protect consumers' data. 3. Direct third parties to delete the consumer health and other personal data that BetterHelp revealed to them. And 4. Limit how long it can retain personal and health information according to a data retention schedule. The commission voted 4-0 to issue the proposed administrative complaint and to accept the consent agreement with the company. Commissioner Christine S. Wilson issued a concurring statement. The FTC will publish a description of the consent agreement agreement package in the Federal Register soon. The agreement will be subject to public comment for 30 days after publication in the Federal Register, after which the Commission will decide whether to make a proposed consent order final. Instructions for filing comments will appear in the published notice. Once processed, comments will be posted on regulations.gov. Note, the Commission issued an administrative complaint when it has reason to believe that the law has been or is being violated, and it appears to the Commission that a proceeding is in the public interest. When the Commission issues a consent order on a final basis, it carries the force of the law with respect to future action. Each violation of such order may result in a civil penalty of $50,000. So there you have it. That is what the FTC stated about the BetterHelp agreement and complaint that they have made. I think that for a lot of people that have been on the internet talking about BetterHelp for the last couple of years are probably very intrigued to see this happen, and probably are very happy that the FTC is taking the steps to hold BetterHelp accountable, even if they do not admit to any wrongdoing. So now I'm going to go on to my opinion. So my opinion on this whole entire situation is I think that BetterHelp has had a lot of controversy, like I said, and issues not only in the past, but now. Clearly. And I think it's about time that the FTC comes down on BetterHelp for the harm that they are allegedly causing. I think that mental health is something that is so extremely important, being someone who works in the mental health field and really is passionate about it. I think that everyone deserves a safe space for their mental health, especially when they are doing something as vulnerable as seeking help for anything that they may be going through with their mental health. And in my opinion, I think that companies like BetterHelp can pose an issue when it comes to mental health. If people are having these alleged horrific experiences, not only with their therapist from companies like BetterHelp, but with a company like BetterHelp, they may be less likely to seek help from another therapist after that experience, which can hurt that person in the long run. I watched so many experienced reviews on TikTok before I made this video where people were saying that they utilized BetterHelp. They alleged that a therapist did a specific thing to them that traumatized them or re-traumatized them. And since that date, they have never stepped foot in another therapist's office ever again. And I think that that's where the issue could lie. I think that when people reach out for mental health services, they do so in such a vulnerable point of their life where it needs to be taken so seriously and with the utmost respect and dignity. And I just don't think that, in my opinion, apps like this have enough safeguards in place to allow for people to get the proper help. There are plenty of online therapists who do this for a living who don't utilize companies like BetterHelp, where people can get help. And I hope that people who maybe have used BetterHelp and have had a bad experience can still take it upon themselves to find someone outside of that company that can help them with what they're going through mentally, whether that's in person, whether that's a therapist that's online. A lot of people have private online practices. I will also link down below a really amazing therapist that is here on YouTube. She talks about counseling and different avenues that you could use, and she has resources and everything like that if you are someone that is looking to seek help with your mental health from someone online versus going in person. So I would really, really, really recommend looking at the links down below, not only because I'm going to be sourcing all of these FTC complaints, but I will leave resources down below if you are going through something and you want to seek help for that. And like I said, mental health is such a fragile thing, and it deserves to be treated with the utmost care and respect. Yeah, that's my opinion on that. Let me know what you all think about the company. Let me know if you have any experiences with BetterHelp. Now, clearly, some people may have had amazing experiences with BetterHelp and they use the company and they love it, and I'm happy for that person. But there are also a lot of people who have had a lot of alleged bad experiences that I think also need to be heard. So again, let me know what you guys think about this video. If you have made it this far, leave a heart emoji in the description down below of any color, any type of heart that you want to leave down below. And don't forget to leave a like and a comment and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And I'll see you guys in next week's videos. Time to put the timer on. Need to stop watching Love Island UK because all I want to talk is in this accent. I think it was a mistake to put on freaking lip gloss today because now it's gonna get all over my Starbucks straw. Let's get this started. No. delete. So you are billed monthly, and they say that so BetterHelp is stated to, no, rewind. A lot of companies aren't, it sounds like the SpongeBob. Kind of, no. So after all this happened, oh God, I'm dying. And nudging them with unavoidable, the